Death is death is something that in this meat sack you can't escape. You won't outlive it. You won't be able to break its ankles. You cannot get away from it, regardless of how much you try. You will come to pass at some point. It is something that is difficult, I think, for a man to deal with as well, because it's out of your control. It's something for me that when I was younger rocked my sense of direction, my destiny, my capability to control where I'm at. A little backstory for those of you that don't know, and kind of in part why we decided to go down this path. My father died of stage 3B colon cancer that metastasized into lymph nodes. It then spread throughout his body, and the actual cause of death was organ failure. At the end of the day, cancer technically doesn't kill you, but it was an experience for, I guess I was 12. I was almost, so when he passed, it was like 2 months before, about 2 months before I was 17. So I was 16, and he battled for about 3.5 years. And a little bit of more backstory there. Father was a Marine, 25 years, was running 10 to 15 miles a day, crazy fitness. And out of nowhere, one day I get a call when I'm playing church basketball. We used to run that league. I got a call from when I showed up there that he had something go on when he was walking up the stairs. And out of nowhere, he was now, the doc called at the hospital and said, "Hey, you need to come to the emergency room right now. We've got to do an emergency procedure." And that started the 3.5 year stint with cancer. And from there, the last couple days of his life, it didn't feel real. It was not my body or my mind trying to push it away and trying to deny it. It was me intentionally trying to pretend like it wasn't happening. I was on a leadership development weekend the week before he went into a coma for Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and I was looking at going to the military, so I was up in North Georgia. And when I came back on that Sunday night, he had a sit down and had a talk with us and went over. My dad had a ton of faith. He was a very strong believer in Christianity, and that he was gonna transition to heaven, and his purpose on earth was fulfilled, and that he was being called home by the Lord from his own words. And it was interesting, on that Sunday, it was probably the start of bold-faced denial for me, because about 45 minutes after we had a conversation and he hugged us and kissed everybody's cheek, he fell into a coma. And for the next 72 hours, he sounded like a broken air conditioning machine, making all kinds of noise all over the place. And it wasn't until Wednesday, not very much long after that, he too, in a hospice bed in our living room, said that he wouldn't go to the hospital, that if he was going to be taken, it would be in the comfort of his own home. And it was a surreal experience. I was the last person to touch his arm, and it changed me. But from there, I went into the bold-faced denial phase of, no, this is not real. This has got to be a dream. This is not something that happens. But I put on a face that, no, I knew that this was just meant for me, and this is my future, and I'm just going to continue to live. And my dad would want me to do da 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 da. But frankly, after he passed, I started drinking heavily. I started drinking a lot. I started partying a lot. I started pretending like everything was okay. I used that escapism to run the other direction, and it's not something I would recommend for anybody. It is not the way to go. I actually had a very not so fun run-in with the law when I was 16, about a month and a half, right before I turned 17, because I was out doing stuff that I shouldn't have been doing. And all of that to say that I do not believe that if he hadn't passed, that I would be the same person I am today. And so I'm thankful that I had the amount of years that I had with him. I'm thankful that I had a father growing up. I had an example of the man to be, how to treat women, how to treat others, how to lead with a servant's heart. I don't believe that I would have the same outlook on a lot of things had I not lost him. I don't believe that I would view women the way that I do had I not had him in my life. I am very thankful for having had him. However, I think I've reconciled with the fact that it was something that needed to happen as I was on my journey at that age, and I didn't understand it, and I broke down 6 months later aggressively when I gave a speech at a funeral of a friend of mine that passed away in a hot tub. Some things, some people, some experiences are meant to uncover things about yourself. They're also very visceral recommendations, or not recommendations, reminders that life is precious. But again, I agree with what you're saying. Not life is precious because we're living, because if there's no interconnectivity, then what the hell are we doing anyways? But life is precious because you don't know, this could be the last time we record a podcast. One of us could be gone tomorrow, tonight, the next day. So are we going to not try to pour our whole ass into this, the collective shared experience here, the interconnectivity that we have and the things that we're interested in, the conversations that we could go in? Are we not going to put aside differences even if they come up for the betterment of the relationship? Because that is why life is precious. So I only go to all that detail to really just represent the amount of growth that the death of my father brought me. But it didn't happen in 6 months. It didn't happen in 2 years. It is, what's today? The 12th of May, 2021. It happened when I was 16. I'm 26. It took 10 years to get here, to be able to look back on the experience and understand that, hey, I don't know all the reasons, but I have been shown a few why it happened the way it happened. And actually, I believe that without that, how would I be able to give advice, to be a support, to be there for other individuals that go through this later? So I know that's a lot and it's kind of all over the place, but it is. Death is something you just won't escape. I know we love to think we can. We won't. Not in this plane. No chance.